They're taking things out of context or just power of persuasion.
Now, I've never been in the grand jury, but logic tells me that if they don't understand something, they will ask you a question, and that's their right to do so.
Sure.
Because you're presenting a case to 18 people who are instructed on what the law says, and they have to go by that. But they're not attorneys, so they may have to ask questions in order to understand what you are presenting to them. That's my logic on it. So, I mean, they may have asked, now these grand jurors were literally picked at random. There is, when we order a jury, we order X number. Sometimes it's usually around 100, 110.
I think we need to go 150.
Not for grand jury.
Oh.
Well, it may be 125 now. We may have upped it.
All right. Now, what about if we feel that it wasn't proper? Because with me, I know for sure they were more focused on the civil case rather than my wife's assault, and I had to say that about 4 or 5 times. So, if one case is disturbing this case, what do we do if we feel like that it's been contaminated?
I'm going to hear it.
Yeah, I would have to say that we feel like it's been contaminated.
Okay. That would be, the DA's office handles the presenting of cases to the grand jury. The DA gets the cases from us, unless it's a direct case, which yours would have been considered a direct case. Then that goes directly through them, and we're out of it until we get the results back.
And the testimony of Brian Tumlin, we feel that's contaminated as well because we already have evidence of him not doing proper investigation.
Okay, maybe
so the entire thing is wrong.
Maybe Allison can get an answer from Eric.
Actually,
that I cannot answer.
This entire town and what we've been dealing with is wrong.
You know, I take offense to that. We are doing our job to the best of our ability.
I take offense to our child being kidnapped and everybody watching it happen.
We had nothing to do with that, Mr. Paul.
I can see that. But I can tell you one thing, is that if I was here, and if I knew that there was no search warrant, no probable cause, and no injury, I would not be working for the people that are allowing it to happen. I choose to work for people that are doing the wrong.
That is your right.
Did she tell you?
Yeah.
He had a question as to if they had a complaint. Ask your question again, please, sir.
All right. So I feel like the entire thing was wrong. You were in there. They were more focused on our civil case rather than my wife's assault. I had to actually direct it back 4 or 5 times back to my wife's assault. So I feel like that one case might have taken away from my wife's assault. And then number 2 is Brian Tumlin. We already have evidence of him not doing the investigation properly. We also have testimony for 2 other witnesses that said that he never even called them. So that would be our second issue with all of this as well.
Yeah. Like I said, we can't censor what the grand jurors ask or anything like that.
Sure. But there has to be a process of where if something has been construed properly, improperly, especially whenever you have an investigator that has already been on evidence that he didn't do it properly. So there's got to be another step.
Well, I can assure you everything was presented.
Well, I'm sure everything was presented, but not presented accordingly and investigated properly.
I would disagree with that. I don't think it was investigated.
Well, we already had evidence of Brian Tumlin not investigating it properly. We've already been over that.
That you would have to take up with the sheriff's department.
I mean, we presented everything we had. We're not in the grand jury room when they deliberate, what they discuss, what they.
Well, I told you that. I told you the one day of those names, and you said that you would have Brian Tumlin go investigate with those people before the grand jury, and you didn't.
Tumlin investigated. He overturned every stone he could.
I gave you those names, and they haven't been called.
You would have to talk. I mean, Tumlin investigated everything. He
I know.
spent countless hours.
But you told me that whenever I gave you those names, that you would have him investigate those people and go speak with those people.
Like I said, we presented everything we had to the grand jury. and they made their
But
decision.
that's not everything then.
Yes, it was. I mean, he investigated everything.
Well, no, because he didn't investigate those people. I have statements saying that they did not speak to them.
If you have what you believe is new evidence, take it to time.
It's old evidence. It's evidence of where we've given to y'all, and y'all haven't followed through.
I disagree with that.
Well, I have evidence of it. Where's your evidence that you did?
But that was the grand jury's decision.
You hear me? I have evidence where y'all haven't.
And that's all.
I have audio where you haven't.
You wanted to present to the grand jury, and that's what we did. Okay.
Yes, that's what we wanted. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been properly done. It's been manipulated, and it hasn't been properly done. Well, it's been manipulation as far as for Brian Tumlin, and yes, I did come to you and tell you there's people that he needed to go investigate, and he didn't do it. So you are a part of it.
I disagree with any type of manipulation or anything like that. We did everything we could to.
But you did not get it enforced like you said you were going to do. Why didn't you have Brian Tumlin go speak with these other people?
But I've got to get back to court.
I have evidence of that. Where's your evidence that you did not?
I've got to get back to court, and that was a grand jury's decision.
I understand that. But everything was not done properly.
We can't influence what the grand jurors ask you in there.
Well, we sent in. We trusted you. We trusted y'all. But y'all sent in an investigator without getting them to do everything that you told us we were going to have them to do. So that means that now your trust has been broken. I cannot trust you anymore. I don't trust you.
That's your opinion. I hate you feel that way, but that's your opinion.
That's not my opinion. That is what's happening. I have evidence of that. So that's more than an opinion.
If you have a problem with the investigation of what he has done, you'll have to take that up with the sheriff's department. We cannot tell them how to do their job, no more than they can tell us how to do ours.
I sure hope people come into this town and with an uproar with all that y'all are doing to us, and I sure hope that God holds
We're not doing anything to you.
Yeah.
This office is trying its best, according to the ability that we have, to process everything for you.
Let me tell y'all something. If I was you and if I was working here, and if your child was kidnapped the way that your child was, and if you were just passing through the state of Alabama, and if I knew y'all's situation, and if I knew that I worked at a place that was allowing it to happen, I couldn't work there no more. My wife, she worked at children's facilities where the CPS would send the children. If they didn't have anywhere to put them or foster care, they'd send them there, and then they'd try and dope them up on all kind of medicines and stuff like that. She couldn't do it. She couldn't work at that facility because it was wrong. So she left. That's just who we are. But that's what makes me different from y'all, because I can't work at a place wherever I see malicious intent and that allows it to happen, and then I make excuses for it.
We have no malicious intent. I'm sure you're that. So.
There is malicious intent whenever we allow people that we work for or that we're involved in, we allow them to be violated, their rights to be violated, and we knowingly go along with it without speaking out about it. I'm letting you know right now that it was an illegal search and seizure, that there was no warrant, there was no probable cause, there was no injury. You now know. You have known before, but y'all do nothing. Nobody helps us.
Well, I have to get to court.